we're back. This is Elliot Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel. Alright, so, I said in the last segment we weren't going to do reviews of stuff that, everyone requested us to review. But I'm going to admit that this book, one of these books that we're going to talk about is something that we were asked to talk about. But it was because we want to talk about it.
Of course it was.
But first off, Shield #2 by Jonathan Hickman, a favorite of the show, and Dustin Weaver. Continuing the secret history of Shield with the revelations that Leonardo da Vinci was one of the architects of Shield. It's kind of cool stuff. I had read somewhere, I forget where, it might have been on the CCW TV blog, someone had made a comment that this book feels like Planetary.
Yeah,
in the Marvel Universe. And we had talked about issue #1, and there were a couple things that we weren't sure about. Does this take place in the 616 universe? Is this like an alternate reality? Is this like an Elseworlds type story that Jonathan Hickman is supposed to be telling, especially when you had Agents Richards and Stark show up? Well, bam, it's pretty much revealed here which versions of Richards and Stark are here. So, we're advancing the story here. We're discovering more about S.H.I.E.L.D. and its origins and the role that Leonardo da Vinci played. And it turns out that Leonardo is kind of he's kind of miffed with how S.H.I.E.L.D. is run right now, and he's decided that he's going to do something about it. So this issue here, as awesome as it was, and the artwork again was splendid. Dustin Weaver is just, doing some incredible stuff, and a question as to which Richards and Starks these were was answered for me, although maybe it was answered elsewhere on the internet or Jonathan Hickman said it. But as much as I like this issue felt like it was running in place a little more. It was kind of cool to see Nostradamus at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But then being chained up by S.H.I.E.L.D. to predict the future. But beyond that, it's see, I know Hickman is in love with the word, and I leave that there. And I love Hickman's dialogue, and I love the way he structures things. But when he has to do a fade from artwork to a page that has just dialogue on it, we've talked about that in his Pax Romana. He did it a lot in Pax Romana. I'm beginning to wonder if Jonathan's getting a little too clever for his own good.
No, I'm going to disagree with you there. Yeah, I hate it when fucking Bendis does it, because his words are just so benign and bland and just boring that reading his comic work with pretty pictures alone just bores me to tears, that having to read this fucking dialogue without any of that nice stuff. Mm-hmm. But this is what Hickman's been doing since that league.
Right.
This is his thing. This is why I like this book, because this feels more like a Jonathan Hickman book than the other two that he's doing for Marvel.
Right.
And it feels more like an indie book, and it feels like he's getting back to that storytelling that he's used to. And that's why I don't mind this. I'm used to this. Now, if you never read Hickman stuff before, or you never read his Image stuff, and you only read his Marvel stuff, and you read this, I can see where people have a problem because they're not used to it. But I'm completely used to this by now. After years of reading him do this and seeing him do this, I don't have a problem. I actually found it quite nostalgic to actually see this back in there, because that's such a Jonathan Hickman thing.
Right. Well, actually, he only does it for one page.
Right.
And in Pax Romana, that happened a lot.
Yeah. But that was how I felt about it. I didn't have a problem with it at all.
But beyond that, again, that's just my one little quibble about it. Jonathan Hickman, I guess in a way I'm kind of contradicting myself, because we had spoken in the past about how we hoped that he wouldn't let his style be forced into the mainstream mold. In here, he's doing his thing, as you said.
Yeah, and then since you brought that up, I'm also going to take this opportunity to say that I have kind of been getting tired of his Secret Warriors and Fantastic Four. I have been talking about on the blog a little bit that they started off really, really great, and now the same problem you had with this, I have with those, that they're just running in place.
Running in place.
It's just like you don't get enough story in each issue for me. If it was a trade paperback, you know, if he was writing an original graphic novel and I read all those in one sitting, yeah, that would be very satisfying. But I'm just not getting enough story in each issue. And Secret Warriors is one of those things that there's so many characters and so many plots, twists, and turns that it really would read better in a trade. Because by a month later, I'm like, who the fuck are the Hydra and like Leviathan? Like, there's so many characters in each one. I keep confusing them. So
I'm gonna tell you,
just drop Secret Warriors soon and just buy the damn trades because it looks like they're
that's
made
what
for
they're
the
writing
trade.
for. That's what it's being written for.
And I don't want to see that. And Fantastic Four, as much as I dislike Eaglesham's art at times, I thought he was a nice fit with Hickman at Fantastic Four, but now he's leaving the book. He's not going to be doing it anymore. So I don't know, man. So needless to say, I'm kind of been not too pleased with his other two Marvel books, at least in the last couple months. I'm still buying them, but that might change soon.
Oh no!
Yeah,
yes,
but I'm enjoying this though.
They're falling. Our favorites are falling a favor. And then another book. Now this is the book that a lot of you were, because we were talking about the Avengers relaunch, and we talked about how much we really enjoyed Secret Avengers, yet we didn't care for.
You do know that since we're reviewing this, we have to review New Avengers next week to finish them all out. We have to do it.
Do we?
We do. We do now for reviewing this.
Well, anyway, Avengers Academy #1 by Christos Gage and Mike McCone. Starting off with a whole new crop of young Avengers and a whole bunch of things and blase. Okay. Let me say this up front. First, I love Christos Gage. I like his style of writing. I like what he does. He's one of those the voices of writing in Marvel Comics right now that I enjoy reading his stuff. I'm saying that right now. I like Christos Gage's stuff.
I smell a big butt.
Yeah. And even Mike McCone in the right place, the right time. His stuff is really good.
There's never a right place in the right
Well,
time.
I mean, his. I was reading this issue and just realized his work. He's looks a lot like Steve Rude. Who his work lately is looking a lot like Steve Rude's. To me, and I've been seeing enough of it. But yeah. Here comes the big but.
Sorry, a little slam at me right there.
No. Haven't we been here before? I mean, hasn't Avengers Academy been like the initiative?
Well, this is the new initiative.
I know. And why do we need even more new characters being backed up by old characters and all this stuff? I mean...
Because the twist at the end is what makes it different.
I know, but do you have to do that establishing a whole new cast doing it, is my question. I mean, to me, don't get me wrong. I like the story.
It doesn't sound like you did at all.
I mean, but again, it's like there's this thing, I've always had this hammered in my head when you're dealing with the DC editorial and Marvel editorial, and this kind of annoys me with them because then they come across as hypocritical. You pitch a story idea to them, I want to create this character where this, and this happens, and they go, well, can't you do that with a character that already exists? You know, we have all these characters that we already have that are doing nothing. Can't you do them with some that already exist? So, I don't know. Overall, it was good.
It's a long way to go just to get that out of you.
That's just my one quip about the book.
I don't have one quip about the book. I have problems with this book, and none of them have to do with Christos Gage. Everything has to do with Mike McCone. This book is so fucking boring to look at. I'm sorry, I mean, if you guys like him, that's great. We all have different tastes in writers, but man, when a character in this panel realizes that she's about to die, and it looks like she's smiling,
yeah, she's like,
I'm sorry, but that takes me out of the fucking story. That just annoyed the hell out of me, because I didn't like the fact that he got picked to draw this book, but like within like 5 pages of me seeing his art just totally do a disservice to the story, I was like, God damn it! Like, I don't know.
It's clean, it's finished, it's
so bland and boring. There's everyone's face is static. Everyone looks the same. It's
right. No, I know what you're saying.
There's no emotion to anything, and when you take up a third of the page with a panel that's supposed to evoke emotion, and you can't even pull that off, I'm sorry. It's time to find something new to do. But sorry, that came off really rude. But that just really bugged me about this. I like the writing a lot. I like Crystal Gage's writing. I like these new characters. I like the independent voices that he actually had. Again, another team book that have independent voices. I like that he brought back Quicksilver in Tigra, in Speedball, in all these all the people who are teaching them. Everything is interesting to me. I like all the characters. I like, you know, there's so much going on. There's so many character interactions going on, but everything feels fresh and new again. But man, this art just killed it for me. It really did.
Oh yeah, the character designs didn't really do it for me though. I mean, I don't know. The Hazmat, Veil, if you want to talk back about the artwork, these costumes don't really terribly evoke superhero for me, or something that I think are going to be iconic looks later on down the line. You know, you want to create a bunch of characters that I know there are only so many takes you can do on a particular color scheme or on a design.
The only costume that I think is okay is the hazmat suit. That's the only one that I actually thought was all right. Even Speedball's redesign of his costume was pretty terrible.
I hated what he did with Justice's look. I mean, and Justice should look more like Vance Astro of the Guardians of the Galaxy. But, you know, they keep, for some reason, pushing away from that look, which annoys me.
Finesse looks like Mockingbird, and Metal looks like Superboy.
Or like the Red Skull meets Superboy. I don't know, it's just
some boring ass shit. But, man, this book deserved a better artist. Like, I don't know why they couldn't get, like, a more dynamic artist like Eric Canetti or somebody that, you know... But whatever, that's just personal preference. But I like the story a lot. In Crystal Gage, I haven't read anything of Crystal Gage's that I did not like.
Yeah. So again, we like it. I just, to me though, I'm like, we could have. I didn't think you needed to generate a whole new cast for it.
But it's the
know
fucking twist at the end is what makes it, and that's why it's a whole new cast.
All right.
You don't understand that? That's
I
why
understand, but there are so many after the initiative, especially. Well, anyway, let's not go there. When we come back, we'll have last rants, and knowing what mood Mr. Melendez is in, it should be a good one. See you then.
I won't promise anything.